Hi guys, this is Hiro. How's everyone doing today? आज वाला केम छो? आज सब कैसे हो? So today I'm discussing two things you want to avoid in order to increase your spiritual well-being. Okay, these two things are you want to avoid vices and you want to avoid comparisons. Okay, vices pretty much has to do with the mind, and comparison has to do with the ego. Okay, and let me tell you why this is important. First of all, comparisons. So we all know that it's not good to compare to other people, right? That's not the main gist here. The main gist that you need to recognize is the deeper level here, which is the ego always tries to think that it's better or more worthy or more important than anything else. Okay, so it will constantly try to prove this throughout a variety of different methods. These methods include buying a car or doing something, or even not even doing something. It could just be saying something, right? This is why gossip is the worst, because anybody can say anything. If you involve yourself in gossip, that's like the lowest energetic level of comparison ever, which is why I completely avoid it. Comparison can also extend to social media. There's a lot of ways that you're indirectly or directly involving yourself in comparison. Now, the comparison, each time you do it, the energy of the ego gets stronger and you further dive yourself deeper into illusion. Okay. And what I mean by this is, like I said, we have an illusion that we're the best, the world revolves around us, we're the most worthy, whatever. So ideally, you want to grow your consciousness and awareness to detach from this, to get out of this illusion, right? Because we know the ego we just have for this birth. After this, we move on, and that's that. However, the more, like I said, you participate in this nonsense, the more you're going to be involved in this nonsense, and the nonsense is also going to affect you. And there's no way that this nonsense is going to affect you positively. It's always going to be negatively. Because even, let's just say you do the highest level of gossip, flexing, buying stuff, whatever. We know that that is not going to make anything better. In fact, it's just going to make things worse. It's going to activate those energies more, and you're just building your attachments. You're building that illusionary ego platform that we're on, and there's no real good end to this. Okay, so that's that. Because we should recognize that we are all equal. We're all conscious beings, regardless of how good looking we are, how much money we have, any sort of variables or factors in our life. Okay, so that's the comparison part. The second part has to do with vices. So this is more the mental part, the emotional part, possibly. They're both tied. Both vices and comparisons are both tied with the mind and the ego, but comparison, in my opinion, is a little bit more tied with the ego, and vice is a little bit more tied with the mind, like emotions and things like that. Vices have a lot to do with not being able to control your emotions. Okay, so we all have certain emotions we wish we can express all the time. Okay, we just wish we can be joyful all the time. For those of you who may have watched some of my other videos, you might know that, in my opinion, happiness is not an emotion. Okay, it's a state of being. So the emotion that we like is joy, that feeling of joy, right? So we wish that we had joy all the time, and we don't understand that, some of us, that we can be happy, we can have that state of being of happiness and content, regardless of what emotion is being expressed, whether it's sadness, guilt, fear, whatever's being expressed. We can just accept it, because we know the mind has certain emotions that it wants to throw at us all the time, right? So rather than trying to control them, we can just accept them and let them flow. And the reason why this is important is because what we resist persists. Okay, so whatever we don't express now, let's just say we do drugs, or we do alcohol, or we have a lot of sex or something like that, you might try to artificially create certain emotions inside of you, and it may lead to some temporary success. However, afterwards, you're going to notice a huge crash, okay? And those other emotions that you don't want are going to get expressed more, and it's going to further the imbalance, right? Because like I said, what you resist persists. So it's going to further the imbalance, and you're going to start to associate only expressing those emotions that you enjoy with certain vices like drinking, and it's just going to make the whole pattern worse. Okay, I think you can see how that made sense. So that's why we can just have a control on our emotions. And what control on our emotions means, we fully express and feel the emotions as is. Now, this does not mean that we need to let our emotions dictate our actions, okay? We can let anger process without, yelling. We can let fear process without like doing nothing, okay? We can let certain emotions process, accept all the emotions, thoughts related to those emotions, whatever, without necessarily acting out of emotions, okay? That's just a false paradigm that we've been taught, okay? And there's certain things that lead to these false paradigms, like TV and stuff like that, people acting out of emotions, things like that. This is why I recommend you to limit your TV time. But I just wanted to make that clear, okay? So just try to avoid vices. And like I said, vices there's a huge amount of things. Anything that you pretty much do in order that gives you a certain emotion or things like that, just be aware of them. And the way you be aware of them is to just recognize your attachments, okay? So just be aware of your vices. That's the first step. Once you're aware, then over time you'll just naturally do something about it. And be aware of your comparisons, okay? And try to see what you're looking for and all this kind of stuff. And like I said, I'm a strong believer in once you become aware of something, you become aware of your attachments related to these certain things. Over time, once that awareness is there and the ball starts rolling, you'll start doing the things that you need to do in regards to this, okay? So that's it for me today. If you have any questions or comments, you can let me know. And until next time, I'll talk to everyone later. Thank you all so much for watching.